still, we got like just an hour left, right? And I understand that the four of us are kind of between you and the topic I'm going to be talking about now. So in part, this is a really important segment for you to listen to. I once heard a saying that was, whenever, and I'm going to actually just read this one. We leave something of ourselves behind when we leave a place. And I always firmly believe that. But I also think it's true of people too. I think that when we touch people, when we get to know each other, we also leave a part of ourselves with them that way. And that can be a really good thing, or it can be a really bad thing. But we're going to make it a really good thing today. I want to share just a little bit about my journey, tell you a little bit about myself, some of the things that I've learned about networking, and then bring it all together into an example for you. And then we're going to go actually put it into practice when everyone else is done talking too. When I first started thinking about this topic, I have to admit, I shared it with my daughter, who's going on, they're going to be 17 next month. And as I was talking to her about it, I said, well, what do you think? And she said, well, the topic's boring. But if you want to make it good, start with something personal. So I'm going to start with something a little bit personal, but of course, because she's 17, she said it should be about her. So I'll give you a little bit more about that too. Because it actually is part of my networking journey. When we had kids, I never realized the impact that would have in helping me expand my network. It was one of those things that suddenly I had something very unique about me, something interesting to talk about. Triplets. For starters, not everyone had that. Lesbians with triplets, that's even cooler, right? It's even more interesting. But it also overwhelmed people. And so many times I would get the question, how do you do it? How did you do it? How was you surviving? I'd say, there's a few more gray hairs here now. But it also gave us something to talk about. It gave us something to relate with. Oftentimes with people I'd never spoken with before. And I find it's very similar on the LGBT side too. Many times people think we're interesting, we're different, and we need to take advantage of that. But they also get a little overwhelmed because they don't always understand how to ask things or how to phrase things, how to be supportive. And so that gives us a little bit more to come back to them on and talk about how we can relate. Because it's really all about love at the end. It's not about what we're doing in the bedroom. It's not about the benefits that we get. It's not about the discrimination. It's about shared relationships and relationship issues, relationship challenges that we all have. So I challenge you to think through, as you go through thinking about networking, think about how things actually have uniqueness to share with others, but also have that similarity. A little bit about my story. I actually have been at Ernst & Young 26 years, you heard. I'm a Cancer. I grab onto things. My partner is the only thing I've been with longer than Ernst & Young. So you can see, I think really is a little bit of astrology there. But when I started off at Ernst & Young, it was a very different job for me. I came from a very blue-collar family. My family had never been in a professional job. I was actually the first in my entire family to graduate college. I thought that it was an 8-hour day that you put in when you went to work for any organization, and then anything after that was time and a half. That's not how it is, by the way. But I was also very shy. And not only was I very shy, I was very awkward. When I started figuring out my orientation and started identifying as genderqueer, we didn't have that term at the time, but I felt and knew those things. I felt different. I felt like an outsider. And those things made me curl up inside my shell a lot more. So that even when I started at Ernst & Young, I was still trying to figure a lot of things out. I was trying to figure out how to be successful in the workplace, trying to figure out if I was going to talk about being LGBT at all, if I was going to keep that part of me hidden. I had a roommate for a long time. And these things kind of all bubbled up. In my 8th year with the firm, I went on a rotation that put me in contact with people across the US. And as a part of that rotation, it was interesting for me because I was meeting now suddenly people who didn't know me at all, didn't know anything about me. Some people in my office in Pittsburgh had known that I was out, most did not. But then as life went on with this rotation, I started meeting people across the US who I found out were in the same spot as I was. They were feeling like outsiders a lot of times. They often weren't knowing how to talk about things, especially as they related to being LGBT. And they were feeling like their voice wasn't being heard. They were being underrepresented. Because of that job, I had the opportunity to not only meet people, but I had the opportunity to start connecting them. That actually is the essence of my job today. My job today is to connect people. I connect those of you who are here in the room with people at the firm to try and get you jobs. I connect people at my firm to help them be more successful in their careers. And I help connect people at the firm with people outside the firm to help improve our chances of selling and marketing. All of these things are all about connections. But I'll tell you, when I started at Ernst & Young, I was a shoes at my desk person. My shoes were at my desk because I knew every day I was going to be at my desk doing a tax return, and by golly, don't ask me to do something else. Don't ask me to stay after 5 o'clock because that would be, what, time and a half, right? So these were things that I had to learn over time. And when I compare it to what I do today about how I connect, it didn't just happen overnight. It happened because slowly but surely I did some of those things you've been hearing about all day today. I grew confidence in myself, and I figured out what I wanted to do, and then I went out and did it. So when I get back to what does it take to be a good networking, it doesn't take this inborn skill set of being able to talk with people, of being able to relate to the person sitting across from you. We all do that from time to time, right? Every now and then. Give me a high five. Thank you. We just need to find the right ways of doing it. So, I'm going to give you a couple of my quick tips. And if they don't work for you tonight, you don't have to pay my fee. But if they do work for you tonight, then you can give me some kickback. The first thing's real easy. Love what you do. You know, Lanaya said it up here, she did not do networking, but then she went on to talk about how she did networking. We do networking different, but we do it through how we love doing our work, or doing what we do best. I figured out very early on that I had a passion for justice, for fairness. Real implicit part of who I was. I found a way to do that through LGBT inclusion. I didn't find a way to do that through taxes, by the way. Notice I'm not in tax anymore. But it was actually my tax background that helped me get good at it. Because one of the first things we did at Ernst & Young was to get our benefits in place. And you know what? Having a tax background and tax knowledge was really helpful in talking through that and making that happen. So I knew I leveraged what I knew and put it into something that was passionate for me. And I do that still today. When I'm talking to recruits and I'm learning new things, I have someone new come into the firm, I love it when someone stumps me. Because then it gives me the chance not only to learn a little bit more, but take something else new that we could be doing better, could be doing differently. So the first thing, do something you love. You do something you love, it makes everything else easier, right?
Yes.
Uh-oh, I'm losing. Let me see if I got a joke in here. Oh no, sorry. You're just gonna have to deal with this. The second thing though is to be prepared. Now, when you go into an event, you don't have to know everything and everyone. When you're trying to do networking, you don't have to be the best networker in the world. You just need to be a little bit prepared. So you come to an event like this. So you have Reaching Out MBA, right? You have an organization you know a little bit about. When you come to this event today, did you know a little bit about the organization?
Yeah.
If you don't, you should. I also knew who the people were in my team, and I got a little bit more knowledgeable about the different things that we were going to do. I came prepared with 3 or 4 questions, and those 3 or 4 questions really helped me get to the point where I could say I'm going to be comfortable there, even though I don't know what I'm networking about. You come prepared, and last but not least, you follow up. I do it through a couple different ways. I got this little thing here called a pen. It will relate the information that's up in your head, and it'll put it on the back of a business card or other piece of paper. If you don't have that, there's these things called LinkedIn and phones and stuff like that. Get people's information that you want to stay in touch with. Get it done. I'm going to give you one quick example, and I'm going to go one over. Bunch of pictures back here. You heard in my bio that I am on the board of directors of the NGLCC. Absolutely wonderful opportunity that really started from one networking opportunity. I saw them present, I saw Justin and Chance, who are the co-founders of that organization, present. And as a result of them presenting, I went up to them afterwards. I said, fantastic presentation. Next year, I want to be on your panel. So we worked out a sponsorship with Ernst & Young. We got a lot of things happening between our organizations. Great alignment because EY does a lot around entrepreneurship. So it was just fantastic all the way around. What I didn't expect was how personally and professionally networking would help me in that situation. You see a bunch of pictures up there. You see some cute ones of kids, and then some older ones of kids. What's amazed me is not only do I have business connections that have expanded out, but the people that I met through the board and on the board included Mark Bertolini, Steve Wozencraft, a whole bunch of folks I'm going to forget the name right now. But those are people now who know my kids and who are helping and talking with my kids. Mark is on the board of Cornell's National Advisory Board at Cornell. And my daughter's favorite school that she wants to go to college at, guess what it is? Cornell. She's already been talking to him about I'll talk to you afterwards, about how great things are there. You never know where networking is going to take you. But you have to go put yourself out there, and you have to give it a little bit of a try. And you have to ask some questions, and you have to be engaged. The good thing is, you don't know where it's going to take you, but it really could take you anywhere. So, my closing is, please, I'll read it again. And as I get older, it gets further like this. When you leave something, you leave something, you leave a party. When you leave a place, we leave something of ourselves behind. I hope that each of you leave a little piece of yourself behind with someone else here in this room. And I hope that it takes you to someplace wonderful. Thank you. Woo!